Hello, I'm FTX Toy Cat, and welcome back to an episode of the Minecraft Bedrock Update Adventures Let's Play. And I'm sure you're all familiar with copper ore. It's a brand new ore introduced in 1.17, and you're probably familiar with the fact that you can make blocks of copper and stairs and slabs, and that's about it, right? Today I wanted to show you though that it can be used for more than just this in terms of a building purpose, because there is something that people don't think of in a building way, and today I wanted to use it to do something at least slightly wacky. So let's mine our copper ore into some raw copper, let's smelt that up, and let's tell you what I'm talking about. Because something you should already know about are these lightning rods. They can of course be used to attract lightning to a particular spot. It's very fun, it's very delightful. I don't think it's the prettiest block when it's used this way, but a fun fact about it is, like many other blocks in Minecraft, it can be used for a building function, and I really like the building function of these lightning rods because you can place them side to side. In fact, you can even place lightning rods off of other lightning rods, and they make this really fun little pattern. And I was thinking, wow, isn't this kind of nice? It makes almost like a, futuristic kind of beam. Wouldn't it be great to use this in some way? And that's why I had an idea. Okay, so this is an amethyst geode. You might have heard of them. You also might have heard of my good friend, the big salmon. But as you can see, I've got one of these at the bottom of my ocean, kind of disconnected from everything. If I want to go in and out of this thing, I have to swim in, swim out, and then if I want to find another one, it's quite some distance away. Why does Minecraft Bedrock lower the render distance so much in the rain? Why am I not able to see literally 3 chunks ahead of me? It's a little annoying. This is why you need some landmarks in your world, which is where we're going today. Because here is a second amethyst geode, but the problem with this second amethyst geode is while it's raining, and indeed even while it's not, if you're playing on a realm with short run distance, you can't even see where the first one is. And even if you could see it, you'd have to swim there manually, like some form of pleb. I mean, even if you get a dolphin boosting you, it's not so great. So what do you do instead? You make a fun little underwater pathway. And so what we do is we take the opening from this amethyst geode, and maybe we use some of those lovely copper rods from earlier, and we start to take advantage of the fact that waterlogging in Minecraft is still not really properly complete. Waterlogging only will work with source blocks, which means if you have flowing water blocks, you can actually place for instance, these blocks through there, and it will stop the water flowing. To give an example, look at that right there. No water can flow through this. It can only exist in the same block as it, and so you could do some pretty interesting things, and maybe make a little pathway is what I'm thinking. And so today what we're going to be doing is making a giant tunnel between the two of these, so that if I want to go AFK and wait for some amethyst to grow, because let's be honest, I need a lot of amethyst, and I need to wait for it to grow, because, is there a better way? If there is, let me know. Do I bone mill them? Does bone milling not work? Why doesn't bone milling work? I know it doesn't, but I have to try it, or someone's going to question now. You can't bone mill it. You literally have to wait for the passage of time. Just like copper, there's no other way around it. And while there's no way around it, that means that what you got to do is you got to plan to spend some time in the area. And what better way to do that than by building something very fun? And so we take some red, we take some yellow dye, we combine them together, and what do we get? This delightful copper-colored glass. Ooh, isn't that delightful? I actually don't know if it will be. We'll throw it in there, and we'll see what we get, I guess. But I'm hoping the end result will be something... I think I'm actually just getting water to flow into my thing. But the end result should be something very good, I hope. And in the meantime, I intend to get hit by a drowned with a trident, apparently. Oh my god. And so as you can see, the tunnel is very successful, especially that drowned with the trident that is chasing me. That is especially successful. But yeah, we're just going to go plan out the tunnel right now, make sure that it will work and actually go from one of these points to the other. And so we do that by just kind of following the path the tunnel would take all the way around these drowns. This is why having glass is so cool. Seeing the natural world that wants to kill you around you is so much better than just living in ignorance and believing it's not there. Also, I guess it can be like a big salmon viewing pod. So yeah, if we go about 100 blocks of the tunnel, 100 blocks is, give or take, what, like 7 or 8 chunks? So we go 8 chunks away, we eventually end up over here. Given the simulation distance right now is 4 chunks, there should be this perfect spot in the middle where I can wait for both these amethyst geodes to grow. And so we're going to make sure the tunnel reflects that. In fact, we're going to go a little better on this. We can tell that there's 120 blocks going this way, and we, that way I should say. And if we want to go this way, there's something like 40 blocks. And so that means the gradient of the tunnel needs to be 1 to 3. For every 3 blocks we go this way, I'm going diagonally. For every 3 blocks we go, I don't know, let's call it south, we have to go 1 block to the east. And so now we can start building that. But before we can start doing that, we need a lot of copper. 7 lightning rods, surprisingly, was not enough to build this entire thing, and so I'm going to go mining. Oh god, this... Oh dear God, how did so many drowned follow me here? What is happening? What have I inadvertently created a drowned farm or something? What is happening around here? Yeah, for this reason alone, I think it's worth sealing this off from the outside world. So I can go and kill the drowned if I want to, but they can't come and kill me if they want to. Seems like a smart thing to do in my opinion. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna just block up the around of this like it's a geode, but made from glass instead. And so now all we have to do is remove the last bits of water that are on the inside of this shield, and then we'll stop having water pouring everywhere, I hope. And also, yeah, while we build this tunnel, we'll get a lot of budding amethyst. It's always worth mentioning that you should remove as many corners as you can from budding amethyst, because obviously if we remove this block right here, now there's another surface that this can grow on, same as if we do the same on this side, and then on this side, and then on this side as well. It makes things a bit uglier though, so do this at your own discretion, I would say. Okay, I need to focus. I know that's a big problem I have always, but on this project in particular, we need to go do some off-camera mining, which is YouTube code usually for like, I'm going to go and give this to myself in creative, but this is a pure survival world, and so would you like to see a bit of off-camera mining? And so yeah, it's always kind of funny to me that like, you know, the off-camera mining thing is just a code for YouTubers would like to skip this and for you to pretend that it didn't happen. Because I've always thought mining is one of the cool bits of Minecraft, especially now, you know, in the post-cave update world of wonderful jingly-jangly noises, by the way. But, like, especially in this post-cave update world, shouldn't we all be wanting to mine a little bit, you know, anyway? And so, yeah, I'll give you some updates here and there. And also, in case you want to see all of this, in case you think, it's just all a trick, then I'd probably use the background gameplay for this, for, like, Q&A Saturdays or other videos like that. So you'll see the footage somewhere else. But for those of you who are like, oh, mining's so boring, you're just going in a straight line. Well, first of all, how about this? Do you see what I'm doing here? It's not a straight line anymore. It's a slightly bent line. But also, I'll get back to you in a minute. Ooh, a minute where we find some dripstone blocks. Don't need those right now, and it's literally 4 of them. But it's always a fun find anyway. You know, it's honestly the way dripstone generates is like so beyond confusing to me. It's like just a sad shell of what we should have in dripstone caves when you see this in your Minecraft world. But it's fine. I'm on the lookout for copper. I need as much copper as I can get. If I find copper, I mine copper. And I guess that can mean exploring an abandoned mine shaft if I wanted to. But yeah, I've always felt like, you know, small lies are a thing that so many people see as necessary. But I've always questioned whether that's really true. I actually think that it's more like a, you know, I think there is a certain politeness in certain lies, but I feel like it shouldn't, I feel like sometimes we use it as like the easy alternative to talking about hard questions. Like YouTubers who really don't care about mining and who are trying to make some narrative-based experience. You know, like, you know, maybe there's a series that's based on showing off how good someone is at the game, and they are very good at the game, but they fake a lot of moments in that series. You know, perhaps they're being hunted by someone or, you know, some such imaginary scenario I plucked out of thin air for sure. Like, you know, people will get mad that they're fake, but when they learn for the first time, that's how it is. And, you know, there is a certain, you know, I feel like it's not the madness in being fake, it's the madness in being lied to. Like, people don't like when you feel like, oh, I liked a thing under false pretenses. And, yeah, I know, I think about that a lot. And, like, also, I've not found a single copper ore. Am I mining too high? I feel like mining lower down will get me more diamonds and not more copper ore. You know, honestly, I need to find myself some deep slate diamonds anyway. So let's start mining downwards. And also, let's grab out our shulker box so we can start actually putting this stone somewhere rather than leaving it on the ground. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do at all. I feel like copper ore is usually the one you find most commonly, but today I found 0. And so my new strategy is the absolutely genius one of just mining straight down. And by mining straight down, I mean, obviously, we'll do it at a slight angle. And we're going to find copper. One way or another, we're going to find it. We're going to get it. Okay, this is insane. I've mined for 20 minutes now and not found a single copper ore. Am I doing something wrong? It's every time you say something, it happens. And honestly, I'm just happy to have some number of copper going. Wow, look at that. I mined for all this time, and I got myself 10 copper. That's enough to make 3 lightning rods. So I only need to have about 300, no, about 600 of these. No, even more than that. I need to have about 900 copper rods, I think, total. For 720 is my current guess. Oh god, speaking of current guesses, things are not going well. So yeah, we're gonna mine until we get a solid dozen stacks or so of copper. Might take a while at the current speed. Ooh, some deep slate copper. That'll help. Okay, this is much more what I'm talking about. We're finally starting to actually rack up the raw copper. This is how it should be. And you know what? I know this is a very small sample size, but clearly mining for diamonds at the same time as copper is just the way we should do things. Okay, so I'm in the middle of smelting up my raw copper, trying to get those copper ingots so I can make my lightning rods. And do you know what I see in the distance? I see a minecart chest. Is it just me, or is it like literally illuminated? I wouldn't have seen it otherwise, but now we need to go find out what's in the chest. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? Or is it going to be beetroot seeds? Oh, well, now I don't have the chest anymore, but I have all the stuff. You know, we've already had one explosion. Might as well have a second. Okay, nice. So we got some minecart rails, I guess. That I'll place those down. We don't need those. Okay, controversial opinion here. I think copper actually is the most fun ore to mine. Not for looking for it. I still haven't got a good feel for like the perfect strategies. I mostly just have fun looking around caves. Honestly, that's a good strategy for any ore. Rather than trying to do this perfect branch mining, just look around a cave, look around a mine shaft. You'll have some fun. You'll find some things you should definitely back away from. But yeah, I think that in terms of the rewards you get, because you get so much raw copper, it's very satisfying. You can't find it in the dark though, so I'm gonna have to craft myself some way past that. Aha! See, it's been in front of me the whole time, just chilling, ready to be mined. Oh my god, have you ever seen this many glowberries in one chest? I'm not convinced that I have, but I'm happy with the result. But yeah, just look at this. I'm running through a mine shaft. I find some blocks. They're underneath some rails for some reason. And then what was 44 copper becomes quickly a whole stack of copper, becomes more than a stack of copper, and just, you know, it's very good. I would recommend to a friend. Oh, look, and we even found another little dripstone biome. This one is 3 blocks tall. They're getting a little ridiculous at this point, but that's fine. Okay, I'm back here in my ocean, apparently with a wandering trader. So as always, you need to do what right now because of weird Minecraft stuff. You look to see what they have. He's got some moss blocks. I would like some moss blocks, so I'm going to hope he remains right there while I go get some emeralds. Because I have tried so hard to find them the normal way, and I have not had success. So I guess I'll take it from Wandering Trader. But first, I'm going to go set up my furnaces, because that is very important. This is, of course, the plate... Wait, how do I even get... Okay, here we go. This is, of course, my lovely... Oh, God. As you can see, my lovely little Amethyst geode. Some of the geodes have grown since I was last here. Not many of them. And I'm going to place down my furnaces that I need to smelt all of this copper. And it's crazy, because I went on, like, an hour-long mining trip. Again, not the most efficient mining trip in the world, I'll be the first to admit. But I went on an hour-long mining trip, and I still have maybe, like, a fifth of the copper that I need to successfully do this. But that's something we'll address better in the future. For now, let's smelt some copper, and let's get some emeralds. Okay, I'm finally ready. I've got my orange stained glass, I've got a ton of lightning rods, plus more smelting on the way, and because I'm building underwater, I figured I'd give you a useful pro tip. Use sponges, everyone knows to do that, but what you might not know is that if you place sponges down in the nether, they'll become dry sponges, because it's so hot all the water evaporates. You know what? Water evaporating in the nether only happens in 2 places. It's like placing water down directly, or ice melting, and then this. But if you break the, the water with if you break the sponge with your fist, it takes a really long time to get a whole stack of them and turn them into something else. But what if there was an easier way? Wow, did you know 1.16 actually made it so that hose will, work on sponges? And so with efficiency hose, it's now officially faster to do it this way than to do it the smelting way. I'd still say if you're in the overworld anyway and you have access to lava, like you should have infinite off anyway, then do that. But interestingly enough, it's now very, very easy to turn wet sponges into dry sponges, and watch me do it right now. Yeah, you can't argue this isn't satisfying. So anyway, what have I been up to in the past week? While we do some Minecraft building, let's get the staple of the Let's Play done. I don't have a vlog style series. Some people are curious what's going on in the Toy Cat world, and it's been a rough week in some ways, I'd say. I kind of alluded to that last time. It's funny, because in the last week's episode, I said something like, yeah, making sure this is every Monday is very important to me, and so I got it entirely ready to upload on Monday, and then my phone broke, and it broke in such a way, it's really annoying. Honestly, I know this is true that, like, tech always breaks in the way, you need it at least. There's just something, bad things tend to be more noticeable when they happen at the worst time. That's what I think that actually is. I don't think that, like, your phone is looking at the worst moment in your life to break down. It's just you in a moment where you don't care, you don't get so emotionally attached. whereas you can get emotionally devastated by something happening at just the wrong time. And, you know, there's a lot of things that have happened. Oh, look at that. Got another wither skeleton skull. Didn't even realize it. But no, I didn't bring emeralds with me. That was the one big reason I was going. Okay, I'm gonna do another trip back and forth. Okay, that was a lot of work just to go pick something up from... It was stored in an ender chest anyway. Really should just bring an ender chest with me as the lesson from this. But let's go. Let's place our lovely emeralds inside of that wandering trader's mouth. Or wherever he fits them. Honestly, where does he put the emeralds? That is a good... Why is it that when you trade with a wandering trade... No, don't tell me he's gone. I didn't know they could despawn in the... Oh, man, I'm upset by that. We had our opportunity, and we just wasted it. Because, you know what? Okay. You know what? I'm fine. Everything's good. There's no problems here. Speaking of no problems, why is it that my furnaces won't smelt, but mobs will despawn? I don't understand that logic. I'm gonna be entirely honest with you. But speaking of things I'm gonna be honest with you about, yeah, let's have a talk. Let's speak about some things, shall we? While building our delightful little, almost contraption feels like the word, right? Like our fun little thing that will go at least some of the distance over to the next Amethyst geode. Because again, there's a lot of blocks required here. I don't know how many of them we will in fact find, or be able to use rather. We don't have to find anything. It's not a scavenger hunt. It's more of a little challenge. But yeah, speaking of little challenges, I know the last week has been easier than the week before. This is what people don't tell you about. Like when there's something that's bad, you know, things tend to get better. Better is the direction of travel, generally more than worse. That is what I tend to find. And I don't know, like sometimes it almost feels like one of the few lessons I'm learning as I age is like, sometimes you just gotta, you know, there's lots of improvements you need to make to yourself and to work out and etc etc etc. You know, I mean like to things to resolve inside of yourself that cause you to, you know, be broken in some ways. But I also feel like a lot of, also yeah, having glass above that wasn't smart. I think I want to have like a disconnect between the corners, just like this. I don't want it to flow over the top though. You know what? Let's just place a sponge here and see if that fixes all my problems. I have a theory that it will magically do so, and it does. Perfect. Oh, not this problem though. So we place the second sponge over here, and boom, look at that. Now you can start to see what I'm going for with this, right? Like water on the other side of my little copper rods, and then a magic pathway through the water going up ahead through them. That is the plan. That is the hope. Let's see if we can make it happen. And dear God, are we going to have a lot of lightning rods to do it with, huh? Okay. See, it's funny because so many stacks of lightning rods, if you're trying to use them in a very heavy and aggressive way like this, you might start to run out of them quickly. But I digress. I want to talk about some... I guess we're just going to entirely remove all the water from this cave, huh? I mean, I don't see any better ways of making this all work. But yeah, so okay, this is very confusing and strange and dark, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. So on this block, we have a ton of these copper rods, and then up here we have some of these. Then once we've done that sufficiently, we should be able to just place down some more sponges and get some more good stuff going. This is honestly, placing blocks in water is like a much more intensive task than it probably has any right to be. Like there's a lot of something happening here that is a little exhausting. Honestly, I was thinking about it a lot this week. I read something about what makes a task engaging, and the answer is like, well, it needs to be like, you know, oh God, I thought I was dry. It doesn't look like I'm in water right now. Is this what not water looks like? Oh, it's the same but with less light. Okay, so you can tell you're underwater if you can see good, just like in the real world, famously. That is how that one works. I'm pretty sure. I mean, try and prove me wrong on that one, internet. I don't think you can. But yeah, I think there's this interesting like level of task that is relaxing, right? Because you know, there's like kind of 4 characteristics. Like if something's like new, it's fun. Everyone loves new things. This is a well-known fact. This is that, you know, like, or at least people like the idea of new things. The actual practice of new things is often a problem for a lot of people. But no one wants to watch like the same thing over and over and over again. You want to watch something new. Even though you found your favorite movie, you watch things that aren't your favorite movie every single day, right? Probably. If is this video your favorite video on the internet? If not, why are you watching this instead of your favorite video? Because it's new, right? You like novel things, and not novel in the sense of insert thing that caused pandemic for the last year. Although I guess that's novel in the same way, right? It's novel. It's brand new. It is unknown, exciting. But also, like people like engaging tasks. They feel like, there's a certain amount of your brain that you like to use on a task, and this is something that's been like really, not revolutionary, but like really interesting to think about. It's like, what is the ideal amount of thinking you'd like to do? Some people have like fantasies of doing something where they're like, their brain power is rewarded all day, every day. Maybe being a teacher is a bad example, but maybe being there are certain tasks where you can be using your brain all the way through, and there are certain tasks where you're not doing that. There are certain tasks where you're, like I sometimes fantasize, and I know incorrectly, and I know like people even hate when you say it. It's like, oh, you trying to make their job seem easier. It's like, no, but like, there's a certain joy, oh, they're going the wrong way. Maybe that's a good idea. Have one set go one way, one the other, or can you not even tell actually? Yeah, you can't tell unless there's these. Although I'd argue these look better than these anyway. Might be worth breaking later and then replacing or something like that. For now though, we'll just have them there so they stop the flow of water. That seems like a good step one. Oh, I thought water was pouring in through there, but I was wrong. But yeah, pro tip, if you do have source blocks trapped inside something, sponges are perfect for that exact situation. There we go, as you can see. Now there's no more water flowing through. There's water flowing through this one little block right here. So we place a sponge there, and then it stops flowing through, and it flows to the side of it. And now we get this beautiful view of the side, which is nice. Now we remove the bottom blocks, and we start working on the tunnel some more, and we get this really, eventually, hopefully nice feeling going on, where we can look at big salmon, where we can look at, I don't know, drowns and squid, maybe even some glow squid, from inside the comfort of our own tunnel. It's a nice thing to do, and it's what I intend to do in this Let's Play. That's why I've spent 2 hours and gone basically nowhere. Or maybe that's just poor planning, who knows for sure. But like, yeah, like knowing, like something that I've always been bad at is procrastinating. I've never met anyone who can like perfectly relate to this, but there's two perfect times to do something to me, way ahead of when I should do it, like doing it so it's done and out of the way. Like, I guess there's a better way to put this. There's two perfect times for me to do anything, right now, or as late as I humanly can do it, or even better yet, if I don't have to do it whatsoever. That's way better in my opinion. That's what I like to do. Those are my favorite times to do anything. Never, or if it has to be a time, if we have to pin it down to a location, as late as humanly possible. Like, when I had a school project due, and the teachers would always give reminders like, oh yeah, you should be doing like a page or two every week, that way it won't be so bad. I was like, that's a really great idea. And then I did it all the night before, which, if you think about it, is actually more efficient. Like, given that homework in the UK, this is one of those differences as to why people are so shocked I don't care about homework. Apparently in America, you get graded on your homework and it affects your, like, final performance, and that's terrifying. In the UK, it's just, like, teachers trying to, like, they have, like, requirements to give you a certain amount of homework, and so they give it to you, and then, obviously, if they don't mark it, there's always that one kid being like, teacher, why haven't you collected the homework yet? Why can you mark it and tell us how we're all doing? I feel very developmentally under-challenged right now. It would be a shame if your boss heard about, it's a shame if your boss would hear about this lack of homework that you're setting. Yeah, maybe you should, like that sort of thing. We all know it. There's versions of that in everyone's life, but it's an interesting thing of like I used to always feel like that way of homework, but also I feel that exact same way. Why did water start pouring down when I placed that copper rod there? Now that's something I don't understand. Huh. Yeah, I'm just gonna start tunneling through now. Try and get somewhere where I can get some lack of water, so I can actually place down some blocks. I think placing this tunnel at this elevation seems really bad right now, by the way. But when I hit the open water, it should get real beautiful. I say should, with a very much an asterisk on the end there. But we might be getting real beautiful soon. So one of the fun problems that I feel like I end up with all the time is there are really, really important things that I'm like, yeah, I'll get around to this super soon. But I know in reality, that means I'm going to ignore this entirely until the next time it comes up. And yeah, I'd say when I'm at my worst, I do that like way more often than I ever should. Just and so there was a very important sponsored video that I had signed up for way before anything in the last couple weeks happened. And I entirely forgot about it till I got an email being like, oh yeah, so I know that it's meant to be here tomorrow, but if you want to send it today, we can, get the process going a little bit easier. And I was like, oh my god, Jesus, oops, oh man, I have... And so, yeah, maybe you'll see that video soon. Maybe even tomorrow or the day after, because it's due by June 30th. And a lot of bad things happen. Not bad things, I guess. Good things don't happen if I can't finish it by then. So for all of our sakes, let's hope there's a sponsored video out then. And speaking of things that just like, yeah, I feel like mentioning sooner rather than later and then just don't. It's like telling people to like subscribe is always like, now's not like the perfect time. Whereas the people who are best at that are just like, I'm going to tell you to subscribe all the time. Why am I not telling you to subscribe right this moment? What are you doing not being subscribed to the channel? Do you just hate puppies? Is that what it is? Oh yeah, I see you hating puppies right there, not being subscribed to the channel. Or like, the first, like, before we get into this video, make sure to subscribe and smash that like button. And it's like, what do you mean like the video? You want me to tell the internet, be dishonest with the YouTube algorithm and tell it, yes, that's not how it works, obviously. Like, like used to mean I would like this video. Now it means I hit this button the YouTuber told me to do. And thank you so much, by the way, for hitting the button that the YouTuber told me to do, if that means the button on this video. Really appreciate it. Oh, this is where the water's leaking in. There needs to be one little block over there, and then probably a lot more sponging. There's gonna be a lot of sponging that happens today. A lot of very important sponging, I would argue. Thank God it's finally going away. Oh yeah, this is a good thing to see, to finally be able to actually place torches down. Honestly, we shouldn't even use torches, we should use a better light source. If only there was like a good light source in current update that would look natural. If only that was a thing. But yeah, so I feel like I have this sometimes. I've heard it sometimes described as like executive dysfunction, like it's not about not knowing what to do, it's about not being able to like make yourself do it. And I think that is actually, I think sometimes we talk about, like in society as a whole, if you don't mind me diving, I guess, into what is technically political. It shouldn't be political, it should be like how we run things, but we like to make it political because, like how much an individual is worth is for some reason a collective question rather than an individual one. But the interesting thing, like that you could decide yourself, perhaps. But an interesting thing is like if you look at people who work the jobs where it's 100 hours of work a week, it's not well, let's say 120 hours of work. That's not even possible. But like if you're working 100 hours of work a week, that's 2.5 or just 80 hours of work a week. That's twice as many as someone doing 40, right? That's double as much work. So you should be getting double as much money. Wow, we have done the smart maths on this one. We have, but the actual reality is like the jobs that have those crazy work weeks can pay the same amount or just double as much or something. But in a lot of cases, there's a dolphin in my tunnel now. Do dolphins die when they're out of water? I feel like they shouldn't, but I feel like they might. Please don't die on me, dolphin. This is the last thing I need right now. Yeah, don't die for me, dolphin. It'd be selfish to me if you died, so please consider me next time when you're considering not being alive anymore. When I was a teenager and I was kind of suicidal, that's how everyone always phrases it too, and it genuinely annoyed me so much. Of like, yeah, you gotta consider all those people around you. Think about how sad they'd be if they found you. And it's like, oh yeah, that's the thing in my life that matters the most. Is like how much it matters to someone else how much I'm alive. That is the key determining factor to me. Thank you, person of anyway, whatever. It's a dumb thing. Don't want to talk about it right now. But what I do want to talk about is I've been having a bad week, and it's fortunately been, I don't know, I feel like not the worst week of my life. I feel like coping with bad things is a thing that I am getting better at as I am aging, which is nice. Maybe it's bad. Yeah. So while I've been having like some of my worst days possible, something really interesting's been happening. It's so hard to place these copper rods while you're floating in water. By the way, pro tip: don't try to do it. But something that I found very interesting is I'd be having a bad day, and just some minor interaction with someone would really actually quite help it. Like, I always thought that was kind of like a meme, like, oh, you should always be nice to people because you don't know what sort of day they're having. And it's like, no, I'm not going to be made happy by you smiling at me in the hallway. Maybe if you're a pretty enough girl, that's true, and that's what the whole system's really about. But like, I never really understood the whole like, ooh, you never know what sort of things someone's going through. But yeah, I know, like just tiny little nice things from strangers I don't expect. I feel like maybe as I've aged, I've stopped being so cynical about people's impressions. Like, just, if you're being nice to me just because like you're in a paid position and what else are you gonna do? That doesn't make it any less nice. I mean, it does, but it shouldn't make it feel any less nice or whatever. And so yeah, I've had like a ton of interactions in this past week where just it felt good, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Someone at Dunkin' Donuts just gave me some more donuts because I seemed unsure of how many I wanted. They're like, you can pay for 10, but have as many as you want. Is that corporate policy? Probably not. I mean, if it is, I'm impressed by the corporate policies. Also, did you know kelp can grow in caves alongside some glow lichens? Bet you didn't. You might have. But yeah, so it's really interesting to me. Just the small things that can make a real big difference. And so like I was at a convenience store in Maine. I was in Maine when I broke my foot. There's so much I want to talk about that I'm talking about none of it. I feel like it's a perfect analogy for me in my everyday life of just like, oh, I need to say this, but I need to say this, and I'm done. None of it. I've been trying to do quite a few big projects recently, and just like, oh, they're so big, I can't do any of it. Working through that, I think, is important. In fact, I think there's a lot of things. In fact, I think working through anything that is causing you serious problems in your day-to-day life is probably a very good idea, right? I think if something causes you problems, by definition, you should probably be working on it at least some amount. Yep, the dolphin can survive out of water, by the way, I hope. Oh, no, why did I say that? Okay, I'm gonna, no! Oh, damn it, I'm a monster. I was trying to break the sponge, because then it would fall into the water. I don't even know why the dolphin drops fish when you kill it. What sense does that make? Anyway, so, speaking of things that don't make sense, my last week, it's been a little rough, but just random acts of kindness from strangers. Even the tiniest ones. I had a conversation with a gas station attendant in Maine about smart water, and after a really bad morning, I don't know, I was just, everything was just making me feel numb, like nothing. And I was like, oh, this is cool. It was genuinely an addition to it lifted my spirits, and then I could keep them there, because, like that's important too. Like, being able to, being happy in the first place is the hard thing. Sustaining happiness is something you can like work on. But like, how do you go from 0 to this? I don't even know what the answer to that question is. And so yeah, it's been really cool. Oh look, you can find copper while mining, and that can be my new solution to all of this. I have an inventory management crisis, and the new update has ruined me so much. There are so many new blocks, and I just don't know how to fit them all in my inventory at one time. Does anyone have this exact same problem? Because honestly, I don't want to say it's making Minecraft unplayable. I know I could just fix it, but like, I don't want to have to fix my... Oh, I've got a ton more copper we should be throwing in the furnaces. I don't want to fix all my inventory management problems. See, like, you're looking at this video right now, and, maybe this conversation's useful. Maybe it's the least useful thing you've ever heard. But rather than, like, diving deep about, like, the very nature of humanity, maybe it'd be more fun to show you that, like, these little copper rods, which are keeping the water out, if you really want, what you can actually do is throw items through them, and they end up in the water. The water can't get through, but items can. And, also, because it's, like, flowing water downwards, it sticks at the bottom, like old school. Let's throw the rails down there as well. And these bones as well. We've got to throw at a specific angle, it seems. But we can throw things out there. Probably. There we go. Perfect. Out into the water, where it can be happy forever and not annoy me in the slightest. Perfect. But yeah, it's entirely possible that you enjoy that little side note more than you enjoy whatever we're even talking about. I don't know how you would actually describe and define what we're doing in this video. That is my oven going off, by the way. But you know, like you get what I'm saying. Like, there's sometimes the base level is the thing that needs to be happy for everything else to follow. And I think we forget about this about ourselves all the time. I saw a really interesting post this last week. You know, this Let's Play is now Toycat talks about something he saw on the internet. Hope you enjoy it. But I saw a post that was like, if you think that you hate yourself, you're probably just tired. If you think you hate everyone else, you're probably just hungry. And it's funny because, like, I'm sure we can all relate to, like, being hungry and just despising the world, just hating everything and everyone around us. And I'm sure we can also relate to being tired and thinking the world was a mistake. You know, all of this is all terrible. I don't know why I'm even trying. And it's a fun reminder that, like, we might pretend to be these beings of, like, greater purposes and all this sort of stuff. But in reality, you know, we are just, you know, monkeys walking around. We act like we're smarter than monkeys a lot, and that's great. That's like progress as a society, maybe we could argue. But no matter how much progress we claim to make from monkeys, we're still monkeys. We're still silly little animals walking around in these little people suits. You know, these little bags of flesh, and those bags of flesh need constant attention. It's like, wah, I need food. Wah, I need some hunger. Wah, I want, like, just a tiny bit of, like, basic human interaction to be good. And same thing with Minecraft video, right? Like, people think all the time the amount of effort you put into something is what you get back. But last week I spent, it was actually 3 weeks ago now that I made the video, but I spent 6-7 hours working on, like, a giant video. Because I thought, like, it's going to be one people really enjoy. Like, what if we replace all the recipes in Minecraft with TNT? Would be wacky, or at least all the tool recipes. And so, like, I struggled through, had a really interesting time playing Minecraft. And the end result of the video is, I think it's, like, the worst viewed video that I've made in several, in at least this month. And it's interesting because, like, if you look at my Update Out Now videos that take 30 minutes to make and then maybe another 30 minutes for everything else, like an hour of work, you can see, like, wow, that's like 500,000 views. If you're doing your basic YouTube maths, that's like, wow, that's like $500 you made right there. Whereas, you know, like, that was a $500 hour of work. You know, obviously there was a lot of chance involved, but like, man, that's nutty. But then you also realize, like, oh yeah, if you look at the 35,000 views on a 7-hour video, that's like $35 for 7 hours of work, and it's like, oh, that would be illegal to pay an employee that in most jurisdictions around the world. And so it's really interesting to see these different, like, it's interesting that we all have, like, a conception of how things are valued that is slightly off to the real world. And that's something that I've always found cool about being a YouTuber is that I have to directly deal with that. Like, you know, we like to believe what we want on a YouTube video is this really complex thing. It's actually super, super simple. One of the things that, like, blew my mind that it was true, I learned this tip forever ago on YouTube. It's like, if a thumbnail stares at you, you know, if it's a cow looking at you from the thumbnail, you're more likely to click. Even though you hate those thumbnails where the people do that, like, that O face, you know, like, oh, you know, that sort of looking face. There's a reason every single YouTuber does it. Like, there are certain base level emotions that activate in you, make you more likely to click it. Do you know my thumbnails look slightly different to my videos? You might not have spotted it, you might have. They're super saturated. Because again, when you see warm colors, your dumb ape brain, my dumb ape brain, too, I'm not gonna pretend I'm immune, is like, ooh, it's good, must see. And on YouTube, I've said this before and I'll say it again, but like, this is, as someone who's, like, biggest fear, like, maybe not the biggest fear, but one of the very biggest fears is being forgotten about. Not being hated sucks so bad. I don't like being hated, and you know, like, you know, like, I'm sure when someone's actively trying to ruin your life, as you know, there are no doubt tons of people that I'm sure grows every day, every week. And but like there are people who want to try and ruin things for you, and that sucks too. But what sucks way more is just people forgetting that you exist. And it's interesting because being any form of air quotes celebrity is going to make you confront this fear. See, when I'm trying to place it on the side here, but because there's grass, it's going upright. Very annoying. Although if you wanted to do this same tunnel but going top to bottom from the ocean down, I think it'd look better if you did it that way. Like have a big hole in the ocean that's surrounded by copper rods. But you know, I digress. We've got other things to do right now. Those other things include... Are we there yet, by the way? We're not there yet. I think we've got quite a while to go. Oh, wow, no, actually, we are surprisingly close. And it's going to be entirely open ocean after this second little tunnel we're going to go through. That'll be pretty cool to see. But yeah, one of the tips I've heard given so many times, and one of the things I see every day on my YouTube channel, it could be one of those things where it's not actually the thing that makes you successful, it's just people who are likely to be successful look at it. But like, you know, like the interesting thing I see looking at my own homepage is like, yeah, everyone knows that if you put a number of something in a video, you know, things I don't like, I've been watching a taxi driver on YouTube recently. I don't even know why, but it's like things I don't like about being a taxi driver. Bleh, who cares? 7 things I hate about being a taxi driver. Tell me, I want to know what are the... I think I have some theories about what 4 of those things might be. Maybe. You know, you get me? Numbers are exciting. Strong emotions are exciting, whether that's shock, fear, whatever else. And it's so interesting that, like, I don't know, we all feel like we're immune. It's like advertising, right? Everyone thinks they're immune from advertising, but these are like multi-billion-dollar corporations that you think that like it's not that they're not doing this because they're getting returns. You think literally no one is affected by it. Or do you think actually it's pretty smart? Like I'm you know, I would describe myself as like somewhat into Formula One recently. It's an exciting season for Formula One, isn't it? If you're an F1 guy. But one of the interesting things about F1 is they used to have so much more money because they used to get money from tobacco companies because, like, you know, it's an exhilarating sport. Tobacco companies have money, and it's like, man, why do we ban that? Surely we should bring it back because I'm not going to smoke just because I see it on the side of a race car. And it's like, well, they wouldn't be spending billions to put, you know, the name of a cigarette brand on the side of a race car if it wasn't increasing their bottom line. And, you know, given that sporting events aren't commonly known for smoking, it probably works that way. Just like Red Bull sponsors all these like sports events too, because you don't associate it as being a sporty drink. But when you see it as a sport thing, you're like, ooh, I guess it must be good. I mean, why else would all these people have the name on it? It's not because they're getting paid, you know? Why would Toy Cat be using, I can't think of a great example, but why would I be using insert thing here? And, you know, most things that I use is because it's the best thing to use, but some things that I use, it's because, ooh, it was cheap or free. Like, I don't know, I've got a ton of examples I won't name, of like, oh yeah, a thing was offered to me, and I was like, well, sure, let's do it that way. I used to use a capture card, because it was sent to me that actually happened to be the best, and I thought that was like the best of both worlds. But it's still, there's something really interesting about like human interactions where like the amount of money you throw into a equation can change. Yeah, like, you know, to go back to that other example, working 80 hours a week isn't double as hard as working 40 hours. It requires like life-changing amounts of commitment. Whereas 40 hours a week, like, there's a lot of people who almost are bored if they don't work that amount, right? Like, it's dumb to say out loud because I'm sure a lot of you feel this exact same thing. But like, yeah, working actually. Also, I'm inside glass right now. Working does actually feel good. Not working can actually feel bad. Wow, we're all such worker bee drones for wanting that, or maybe more realistically than being worker bee drones. Can I remove the original copper rod, or will that break all the additional ones? Oh, you can. That's interesting. I mean, it makes sense, but it's also interesting, right? Not just me. But yeah, I've always found, just like, you know, with the Minecraft thing, that like having a number of something, very exciting. This month I had a 1 million view video. That's crazy. I think it hit 1 million views in like less than 2 weeks. I think it's one of my fastest videos to hit that number. Thank you so much to everyone who watched all the features in 1.17, by the way. But like, you know, one of the reasons it was so successful is because we named the number of features. We went through individually, granularly, and we worked it out. And people like that. It's much easier to know what you're expecting in something like that, you know? I think expectations and management of them is really a big part of YouTube. And it's interesting because you don't think that when you click on a video. You think you clicked on the video because, oh yeah, I'd like to learn about these features. You don't think, oh yeah, I like that there is a number. I'm expecting this for that reason, and blah, blah, blah. And so yeah, that's why it's so interesting that like, if I really think, did I enjoy that conversation with Vitamin Water, with the gas station person. I mean, did it like fulfill me on some deep level? No. But did it help me achieve a little bit more fulfillment that day? I went on a nice hike on Acadia. I think it's called Bar Island, maybe. The mountain was called the Cadillac Mountain, in case you're curious. Do you want to learn about the mountains that Toy Cat spent some time on recently? I bet you don't, but you're going to anyway. Oh, there we go. Perfect. So it's actually surprisingly hard to get it out of those side blocks, it seems. I wonder why that is. Yeah, it keeps on spilling through. Why is it continuously spilling through here? Okay, we got it. We just have to place it right next to it. A little annoying, but we can work with that. Anyway, so yeah, it's very, very interesting that like learning the difference between why you think you should feel a way and why you do feel a way. I don't know. I've been trying to. I've been like, a lot of things I've been doing in the last week have been like, you know what? Why is this? Why is that? And it's been generally pretty handy, I would say. I also, I didn't know if I should admit this on the internet, but I went to some therapy this last week. And I found it really interesting, like, I guess I wasn't expecting I don't know. There's, it's interesting because, you know, you say certain things and you're like, oh, yeah. I feel like I'm better aware of myself than... Actually, no, I thought I was better aware of myself than most people. Then I spoke to another friend who has, like, had a therapist for something else they've been doing. They're like, yeah, my therapist said that too. And it's like, man, maybe, just maybe, they say it to everyone. Because everyone wants a compliment, right? No one wants to be like, yeah, actually, you're worse than average at managing, at knowing about yourself and knowing why you're certain ways. Like, there are some bad things about yourself that people find hard to acknowledge, right? Like, I don't know, what's a weird thing? I like to talk about I like to talk about weird things that people find uncomfortable because I find that uncomfortableness kind of interesting, and that's no good, or at least it's not what people are looking for in their interactions with me. Can you put coal in as a fuel? You can't. You should be able to. I mean, you actually shouldn't. I understand why you can't. It's very sad anyway, though. What we're going to do now is we're going to mine these 4 copper ores, and then we're going to mine the coal ores to turn them into something else. But, yeah, I don't know. I acknowledge... I think being a YouTuber, you have to be at least a slightly more self-centered than average person. I mean, think about it. Every single day, I wake up and I'm like, what would people like to see from me? You know, why don't I wake up one day and be like, oh yeah, what do people want to, you know, like, let's let someone else take today. It's like, no, I need to be, every single day I upload, you know, why do I think I have something worth saying every single day? I clearly can't. That's not possible. But people enjoy that, or like some number of people do. I do it for them. But like, am I doing it for them or am I doing it for me? Who really knows? You can, there's an interesting thing that you can like kind of dive into, like, does anyone do anything for anyone else or themselves? And you can dive philosophically forever and not achieve anything really of note. Because it's one of those questions that only really has hard answers and only really has wrong answers. And so yeah, am I making this tunnel for me right now? Or am I making it because I know I'm on a video? I know for a fact that if I do the projects I find most interesting, they are uninteresting to people. I have to make that compromise and find that sweet spot between what I find interesting and what the internet is willing to watch. Because if the internet isn't willing to watch me, I go away. And some, you know, like, I've spoken about my fear of being forgotten before. One of the things about the internet is there, like, the worst place to be if you have that fear. Because if you don't post a brand new video or a brand new tweet or a brand new whatever at some point, some people are like, oh, I wonder why he hasn't posted today. And some number of people don't even think about it. They're like, you know, their information diet has changed very slightly. The people in their life have changed very slightly. They don't think about the why, the who, the how. It's just, oh, yeah, things are slightly different today, and then they'll never find you ever again. If you miss an upload one day, if you miss a this one day, every single day you do that, someone has forgotten who you are. Like, imagine that in your personal life. Imagine not showing up to school one day. I like to use school as an example because it's where you have the biggest social network. I actually think this is one of the reasons school is so good. School is a place that forces you to be around people you don't want to be. Just like retail, you know. The reason everyone who works retail is like, oh, that's so interesting. Like, being around people not because I want to be, not because I choose to be, but because I choose not to be. It's like a microcosm of society, right? You're influenced by these people that you otherwise wouldn't let anywhere near you because you'd otherwise pick people who are exactly like yourself. It's really interesting. But like, say you're at school and you miss school one day, and everyone's like, so who are you again? And it's like, it's me, it's Andrew. I just missed the day yesterday because I wanted to play, you know, I pretended to be sick so I could stay home and play video games. It's like, Andrew, do you spell that with an E or a U? Or what's the deal with that, you know? And I'm slowly running out of blocks and sanity and probably time, honestly, to make this video. I need to go change the oven, 1 sec. I left that burger in there for too long. Anyway, I've spent a lot of time in this past week trying to work out what it is that makes things... You know, I feel like, I say this all the time, but like, when your life falls apart, like, destruction is sad. We don't deliberately destroy things. But also, there's like lots of opportunities to gain. Like, when you lose everything, when you start again with nothing, like emotionally speaking, when you build up again, you can generally build up into a better place, I tend to find. And so, even with every great tragedy, there's something that can come from it. It might take a very, very, very long time for anything to you know, like to grow from something. But I feel like almost every bad thing that feels like it is universally just not good, there's always something to it. And you know what? 1 sec. Wait, before we go, can I have a spicy take on modern events? Just in case you're watching this and you're like, you know what, Toy Cat, that was really good. Can I talk about... Okay, so someone very famous was sentenced this last week. Someone who did something very, very horrific. You work out who I'm talking about if you want to. But basically, I find it so interesting because one of the... You know, they got obviously sentenced for the thing that they did wrong, or were accused of doing wrong, and you know, whatever. You've seen a video of it probably. So it's really interesting because there was like a line from the defendant. I don't know, a line from the other party being like, "Man, I just want to know why you would do this." And it's so interesting. I didn't even realize I like the court system as like a basis for a lot of things, like that we get wrong as a society. Like we've forgotten about the idea that like, oh yeah, you have to actually be an injured party to file a lawsuit in real world. On the internet, you can be mad on the behalf of other people. It doesn't matter if those people themselves aren't mad. You can be mad and use them as your scapegoat for why you're mad. Like, oh, well, I actually have a friend who is that way. You know, my friend is a lawyer and is very offended by the words you just said there, Toy Cat. Please could you resist offending him in future or whatever the heck. But one of the interesting things about like court, I guess, as a system, is you never get to know why someone did something. If you've committed a crime, your best bet, you know, the thing you can do to save yourself the most is you make it look like you didn't commit the crime, even when you did. The people who are on the other end of that, they never get to know why you did it because you spend all of your time insisting that you didn't. Instead of telling them why you did it, you tell them, "I did not, sir. It was an accident. I didn't do that. I wasn't there," or whatever the heck. You know, you have to defend yourself to the brim, and that almost feels like an unhealthy thing. I feel like most people, if you just give them like a no consequence room, like the fact that like the therapy thing that's been going on, all the person has to do is like stop talking, and then you fill the void with something. People will confess to bad things if you give them space to do so. Like it's an interesting thing. That's what most police interrogation is. People picture you being in a room for 14 hours with someone waterboarding you and slamming your head on the table. It almost always is like, so you doing good? Anything on your mind? You get someone empathetic in there to like speak about it. And then they're like, yeah, I committed this murder and I'm worried I'm going to prison for life. It's like, you committed a murder, huh? With what weapon? Tell me all about it. And then boom, that's like, that's how most people get caught, fun fact. Because people want to tell you about the things that are going on in their life. And murder is a big thing to be going on in someone's life and not to be able to talk about, right? And I totally understand why not talking about things hurts. But you know, like, it'd be cool if there was some like real. That's why I think it's cool to find places. That's actually, I think, the biggest benefit of like a therapy is, right? They have to legally report you if you're going to harm some old person or some young person, or you have violent tendencies, I think. But otherwise, they're like, the things that a therapist has literally can't be used in court. It's inadmissible, at least in the state I'm in. I don't know if that's a worldwide thing, but like, I used to think like, man, what's just stopping them from telling someone? And it's like, well, yeah, it's literally inadmissible evidence. Like, it is illegal for them to give the evidence. It's not, you know, it's obviously, like, whenever something's like illegal, it's like, well, it's illegal, but like, how are you going to defend your rights from a jail cell or whatever? But yeah, talking about things, very important is what I'm saying. And also, I would love to know inside the mind of someone who can do, like, again, there is a very big crime that someone got sentenced for recently that's like horrific. No one can look at the crime and be like, that's not messed up. You could probably argue about why it's messed up, and some people could, you know, further some causes or do this or do that, or use it as a justification for something else. But the very argument of like, this is messed up, I want to know what's going on inside someone's brain. I want to, like, this is a weird thing to say. I want to know, like, you know, like a serial killer. I would love to, like, you know, be a passenger in their body while they were doing the terrible thing, if I couldn't stop it, obviously. Just to know, like, how must it feel to get to the stage where you decide to serial kill, or even just kill to begin with, you know? Let's not mention the second killing or the third killing or the. And for a lot of people, it's just like they are very mentally ill or delusional. One of my weird hobbies is I like looking into like really deranged things like that. And like, again, it always is like, yeah, they're very mentally ill. There's very few people who are like, oh yeah, I was just feeling sad, so I went on a serial killing binge. It's just not a thing that people do. Anyway, so today we made surprisingly good progress. The tunnel is ugly, it needs a lot of cleaning up. But we can, I think if we wait right here, we are roughly in between the two Amethyst geodes. And so a lot of growth will hopefully happen in both. Ooh, that rhymes. I'm going to have to come back to this, and I'm going to level with you right now. I want to do it as soon as possible, but I'm not going to find time to do it. I'm going to forget that this exists until much later in the future, and that's a beautiful thing, because if you want to pretend it exists, it'll exist in the next version of my Let's Play, which I need to promote, probably using next week's episode. I'll forget to do it next week, and then as soon as I promote that the Let's Play is changing, then I'll put out a new download, by the way. Don't worry, it's going to happen soon. Speaking of things that are going to happen soon, I hope you'll enjoy this video. If you did, like it and let me know, because I'll see you all in the next one, because I have to go. Bye.